Today I'm going to talk about what I believe is probably the most important thing for humanity at this time. In Old English, it was the word soul. In Greek, it was the word psyche, where we have psychology, the study of the soul. Though there is a lot of information already available about the concept of soul on the internet and in books, I have my own research based on a lot of scientific research and research outside of my body, so astral projection and interaction with many different variants of higher intelligences. So first, we'll start with what is a soul? And to describe this, we will also have to mention how souls are formed. What we call Kordylewski clouds, that are density plasma clouds, form through a resonance between the sun and the moon and the planet. In our case, with the moon, some cases no moon involved. These clouds are created through what we call aurora circuits at certain times and phases of the moon when the moon is adjacent from the sun and the moon has a stronger magnetic pull. This creates the aurora circuits and pulls what we call solar flares around the planet into a magnetic resonant area between the moon and the planet, where they form clouds. They form a relationship. These plasmoids form a relationship of highly charged, dusty plasma. And these dusty, highly charged plasma clouds, that I will just call souls, reside primarily close to the star that gave birth to the plasma, and usually between the star and the planet of which the life is incarnating on, but not always. This depends on the evolution of the soul, how old the soul is, and the experiences that the soul is looking for. To explain why souls exist at all, first we will have to look at the birth of the universe. What certain types of stars and black holes are doing is collecting data, experience, or memory, as we could call it, all the same thing, of all the experiences that are had within their spheres. The solar system is a sphere. We call it the heliosphere. A galaxy is also a sphere. It's a spherical toroid of electromagnetic structure from which it collects energy. What we call supermassive black holes at the middle of galaxies are actually dipoles that go through the middle of this sphere, where the experiences or data are absorbed. These spheres, these electromagnetic toroids, are all mostly primarily negatively charged. This is how they can absorb the information. Everything in the universe is information. Once they have collected enough experiences, they become very dense, especially in terms of stars and black holes, as they collect all the data from all the beings, entities, plasma clouds, whatever is within the sphere. The sphere becomes more dense over time, the more information it collects. Once they have collected enough experience, they become so dense with high frequencies, they then implode under this high frequency energy, and this energy scatters out, but it is more like a breath, more like exhaling. then imploding, creating all forms of energy and plasma, which then begin to bond and form relationships that evolve into stars, planets, souls, bacteria, foliage, and beings. The souls being the ultimate creators of awareness in all life forms. As the soul keeps incarnating, it is the equivalent of our heart beating. And as such souls incarnate to collect their experiences, they go on to form planets and stars. Earth, or Terra as it prefers to be addressed, is a soul originally from the M45 cluster of neighboring stars, tightly resonating with the molten core of our planet, is a ball of highly charged plasma, like a small star. This is the planet's heart. A planet that births life, so any planet that has life on it, from which there are trillions in just our galaxy, is a soul. Without the soul in the middle of the planet, without the heart, there can be no life-giving electromagnetic field. So planets with life were once plasma clouds called souls, and they are still souls as planets. As many high-end astrophysicists and plasma physicists are beginning to realize, these humongous, highly charged plasma clouds of sometimes loose, sometimes more dense molecules, they are highly intelligent, highly aware. They communicate to living beings or entities through entanglement. The human body, for example, has crystalline structures throughout itself, as the earth also has crystalline structures throughout itself for communication. The human body primarily uses the pineal gland as a receiver of the soul, but it's more complex than that. The single DNA strand, for example, in the womb, when the first cell creates its first DNA strand in the nucleus of the cell, the soul has to entangle with this DNA because the DNA is a receiver also. And as it receives the information, it knows and gets a blueprint how to grow. DNA is the blueprint for the whole body, created by the earth, the body. The human body, the mother, is a mix of all these things. But the soul has the prenatal agreement that designs the growth of this body. Communication can be found in intuition, so the gut feeling intuition, and also when you're just quiet and you're not really thinking about anything, and then you get a light bulb moment, or what they call a download. This is also intuition. And also in dreams. Your soul speaks to you in dreams. There are different types of dreams. So the main type of dreams that we experience are when the soul is trying to show you either a past or future or parallel version of yourself, where you need to pay attention in relevance to your present moment in your life. Though there are many, many parallels, which is the nature of the universe, your soul knows exactly how and where to pay attention to for your individual experience in this incarnation. There are other types of dreams, but some people call them lucid dreams, but primarily this is when you slipped out of your body in your sleep, your energy body, when it slips out and you experience what they call the astral realm, what I call the seventh dimension. This is where many, many, many disembodied beings exist all together. And the reality there is much different. Due to the less dense nature of the body outside of the physical body, thought, intention, and emotion resonate and create much faster in the seventh dimension. Before you are born, the soul chooses a particular set of frequencies from its massive body of experience and couples them together in a plasmoid, a small, cold set of frequencies called plasma. And this plasma aligns itself with the DNA, entangles with the DNA. And as the cells grow and the nervous system grows and the heart starts to beat and then the brain grows, more and more of this set of frequencies entangles with the body, ensouling the body. Another part of this process is that there are agreements that are made, what we will call agreements. The soul creates agreements for the life to experience what the soul wants to experience. It lays a blueprint of agreements. So you could say that physical reality, with all the beings, plants, all the things around, are living through agreements. The whole of our physical reality is orchestrated by prenatal soul agreements. The soul exists not beyond time, but in a very loose version of time in comparison to what we experience. Though it lives primarily in some star system, it still lives in a perception of its own time, with it being such a highly aware cloud of plasma. It doesn't have to be in the same kind of physical time as what would be on a planet that adheres to spin. It is the spin of celestial bodies that create the time that we perceive, physical time. Time itself, from our perspective, being multidimensional. We have yet to touch on even the basic understanding of time in modern physics. Each time your heart beats, it sends the informational and emotional feedback straight to the plasma cloud of soul. Each time the soul incarnates, and from our perspective would be multiple times in one lifetime, it is the equivalent of the soul's heart beating itself as it grows and understands more through the experiences of the incarnations. The easiest way to understand what your personal individual soul agreements are is to understand what excites you the most and what impassions you the most. To follow the road of your highest excitement will always be the healthiest and most productive and good feel way to live your life. And by ignoring or not paying attention to your intuition or the things that excite you the most in life, often result in physical and emotional and psychological turmoil. Your DNA is constructed by atoms. Atoms rely on photons to spin around on the electron. The more You allow for intuition. You allow more for your soul to come through your DNA. This means you allow for a higher frequency of photon in all the atoms of your being, your physical being. As this happens, you become much more in tune with your dreams. You'll remember your dreams will become more vivid. You become able to do things like what they call remote viewing, astral projection. Your understanding of almost everything will be heightened. Stay intuitive. Thanks for listening.